Cuba is one of the most fascinating countries in the Caribbean, with a rich past, unique geography, and a culture shaped by centuries of change. Its history begins long before European arrival, when indigenous groups like the Taino lived across the island. In 1492, Christopher Columbus reached Cuba during his first voyage, claiming it for Spain. For nearly 400 years, Cuba remained a Spanish colony, becoming a major producer of sugar and tobacco using enslaved African labor. In the late 19th century, independence movements grew stronger, leading to the Spanish-American War, after which Spain lost control of Cuba. Although Cuba became formally independent in 1902, the United States had strong influence over its politics and economy for decades. The most dramatic turning point came with the Cuban Revolution led by Fidel Castro, which established a socialist government that still shapes the country today. Geographically, Cuba is the largest island in the Caribbean, located where the Caribbean Sea meets the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean. It lies south of the United States and east of Mexico. The country covers an area of about 109,884 square kilometers, including the main island and several smaller islands like Isla de la Juventud. The coastline is long and irregular, filled with bays, coral reefs, and white sand beaches that attract tourists from around the world. Cuba's landscape is mostly flat or gently rolling plains, but it also has mountain ranges, the most important being the Sierra Maestra in the southeast, where the country's highest peak, Pico Turquino, is located. Other ranges include the Escambray Mountains in central Cuba. Cuba has several important rivers, though most are not very long. The longest river is the Corto River, which flows through the eastern part of the island. Other rivers like the Toa and Almendez also play roles in agriculture and local ecosystems. The island's tropical climate supports lush vegetation, fertile farmland, and diverse wildlife. The population of Cuba is around 11 million people. Most Cubans live in urban areas, with a mix of Spanish, African, and mixed heritage shaping the country's identity. The largest and most famous city is Havana, which is also the political, economic, and cultural center. Havana is known for its colonial architecture, classic cars, and vibrant street life. Other major cities include Santiago de Cuba, famous for its music and role in the revolution, Camagüey with its unique layout, and Holguín, an important cultural hub. Cuba has several international airports that connect it to the rest of the world. The busiest is José Martí International Airport, located near Havana. Other important airports include Juan Gualberto Gómez Airport, which serves major tourist areas, and Antonio Maceo Airport in the east. These airports play a key role in tourism, one of Cuba's main industries. Religion in Cuba is diverse and reflects its mixed heritage. The majority of people have historically been Roman Catholic due to Spanish influence, but many Cubans practice a blend of Catholicism and African-based traditions like Santeria, which combines Yoruba beliefs with Christian elements. In recent decades, there has also been growth in Protestant churches and a general increase in secular or non-religious people. Cuba has a very vibrant lifestyle, and its sports, weather, food, and public systems all reflect a mix of culture, history, and government influence. Sports are a huge part of Cuban identity, and the most popular sport by far is baseball. It is almost like a national passion, with children playing in streets and local fields, and the country has produced many world-class players who later joined international leagues. Boxing is another major sport where Cuba has achieved global success, especially in the Olympics, producing legendary fighters. Athletics, track and field, is also strong, along with basketball and volleyball, which are widely played in schools and communities. Cuba has a tropical climate, meaning it stays warm throughout the year. There are two main seasons, a dry season from November to April and a wet, humid season from May to October. Temperatures usually range between 24 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius, 75 degrees Fahrenheit to 86 degrees Fahrenheit, making it ideal for tourism. However, Cuba is also located in the hurricane belt, so storms can occur between June and November, sometimes affecting coastal regions. Food in Cuba is simple but flavorful, influenced by Spanish, African, and Caribbean traditions. Rice and beans are a daily staple, often served with meat like chicken or pork. One of the most famous dishes is ropa vieja, which is slow-cooked shredded beef in tomato-based sauce. Another popular dish is moros y cristianos, symbolizing the mix of cultures. Tostones are commonly eaten as a side dish, while Cuban sandwiches filled with pork, cheese, and pickles are famous worldwide. Seafood is also widely consumed, especially in coastal areas, and tropical fruits like mango, guava, and pineapple are very common. The transportation system in Cuba is unique. The train network exists but is quite old and slower compared to modern international standards, although it connects major cities like Havana and Santiago de Cuba. Buses are the main form of public transport for long-distance travel, with government-run services connecting cities and towns. In urban areas, people use local buses, taxis, and shared rides. Classic American cars from the 1950s are still widely used as taxis, giving Cuba its iconic look. Due to limited resources, transportation can sometimes be crowded and less frequent, but it remains affordable for locals. Education in Cuba is one of the strongest systems in the developing world. After the Cuban Revolution, the government made education a top priority. Today, education is free at all levels, including university, and the country has a very high literacy rate of over 99%. Schools are found across the country, even in rural areas, ensuring equal access. The system emphasizes science, medicine, and social values, which is why Cuba has produced a large number of doctors and healthcare professionals. Universities and technical institutes provide higher education, and the government supports students with books, meals, and sometimes accommodation. Cuba offers a very different experience compared to most countries, especially when it comes to shopping, lifestyle, and government systems. Shopping in Cuba is not dominated by huge modern malls like in the United States or Europe. Instead, you will find a mix of local markets, artisan shops, and a few state-run shopping centers. In Havana, places like Almacén San Jose Market are popular for tourists where you can buy handmade crafts, paintings, souvenirs, cigars, and traditional clothing. There are also some modern shopping complexes like Galerías de Paseo and Centro Comercial Plaza Carlos III, but overall shopping is limited compared to other countries due to the state-controlled economy and import restrictions. Cuba's birth and death rates are relatively balanced, showing a stable population. The birth rate is low compared to many developing countries, mainly because of good education and healthcare access, while the death rate is moderate. Cuba also has one of the highest life expectancies in Latin America, thanks to its strong healthcare system. The population growth is slow, and in some years it is almost stagnant. When it comes to jobs and occupations, most people in Cuba work in government-controlled sectors. Common occupations include healthcare workers, teachers, engineers, and agricultural workers. Tourism is also a major employer, with many people working in hotels, restaurants, and as tour guides. However, salaries in government jobs are relatively low, so many Cubans also engage in small private businesses like taxis, home rentals, casas particulares, or small restaurants known as paladeres. The economy is gradually opening up, allowing more private sector opportunities. The visa system in Cuba depends on your nationality. Most tourists need a tourist card, similar to a visa, before entering the country. Visitors from many countries can get this easily through airlines or travel agencies. However, travel rules are stricter for people from the United States due to long-standing political tensions. American travelers must follow specific categories such as educational or cultural visits rather than simple tourism, although rules have changed at times. Cuba's political system is very different from most democratic countries. It is a one-party socialist state led by the Communist Party of Cuba. The government controls most aspects of the economy, media, and major institutions. Elections are held, but only candidates approved by the system can participate, so political competition is limited. The country has been shaped heavily by the legacy of Fidel Castro and the revolution, and the government continues to focus on equality, healthcare, and education, though economic challenges remain. Tourists are drawn to Cuba for its unique charm and authenticity. The country feels like a step back in time, especially with its classic cars, colonial buildings, and slower pace of life. Old Havana is a UNESCO World Heritage Site filled with colorful streets and historic architecture. Varadero Beach is one of the most beautiful beaches in the Caribbean, known for its white sand and clear blue water. Nature lovers can explore Vinales Valley with its green mountains and tobacco farms, while history enthusiasts can visit Santiago de Cuba for its revolutionary landmarks. People should visit Cuba because it offers something truly different: rich culture, music, dance, friendly locals, and a mix of history and natural beauty that is hard to find anywhere else. It is not just a destination, but an experience that gives you a deeper understanding of how history and politics can shape everyday life.